Okay, this. Sorry, I got the lurgy. Um, this is just kind of an explanation of my process. I started with three images, which are this one, which I think is like, I think it's like a 1920s anti bear outfit, something you wear. Uh, if you're out running around in the, the glade and not want to be attacked and eaten by a bear, then you wear this, and then they just kind of like kick you around and stuff. And then uh, and then this is actually an image of mine that I took of this friend of mine, Paul Kittleson. But I think it was at Paul Kittleson's place, but his partner um, made this creature here, um, and then this I don't know where I got it from, but it's obviously I could have taken it, somebody else could have taken it. It doesn't really matter. But I took these three images and I threw them together, and this is kind of like what I started with, like these images here. They're really kind of you know hold on, let's you know, and it's like each time, so each four, you pick one, and then it gives you four more, and then it gives you four more, and then you just keep doing this. And I did this for at least 3 or 4 hours, and it's and you're kind of the thing is what you're doing that you're unaware of, and why I think it's really good as a photographer is it's kind of like looking at um, your negatives, you know, after you've shot something, and then but then taking that one negative, like if you pick like this one or that one, it will then take that one and then make four more. So it's refine. It's almost like it's taking your negatives and it's refining that image process within the notion of the negative existing kind of on a grander plane of like you being able to go back to that moment, shoot that image four different ways, and then just keep doing it until you end up with the image that you like. So in theory, if you're doing this, if you're giving it images, you're not allowing it to give you the shit you don't want. Like the unicorn with mixed with the banana, and all that bullshit. I mean, if that's what you want to do, then that's great. But I tend not to do that. I tend not to try to. I don't want the AI to make like bad Hallmark art for me. I just want it to. I want to use it for its knowledge and its capacity to give you images. As long as you give it a parameter, like you say, you cannot go outside of these three images, and it won't do that. It will do that, but it'll do that on a lot of levels. It'll do it just on the visual. It'll do it on the notion of how that image was taken or what does this look like. And each time you pick something, it will kind of go, oh, you like spiky heads, okay, I can do that. So it starts to make spiky heads, and it's like, so you're kind of picking the ones that you want, and the ones you don't want you're not picking. So you're developing an interaction with the AI to over time give you, like these are nice because it's kind of doing like a Giacometti thing, and then these four here with the multiple kind of wildlife creatures. I didn't pick those because I wasn't what I was thinking, but I could go back to these and kind of like see, what I could do with that. I was more interested in these Giacometti looking images, you know, and and I just kept pushing them and pushing them and pushing them, and then there's a point where it's like you think, oh, it's not going anywhere, and the single images are images that I picked to enlarge. Like those are the ones I liked, so I enlarged them, so upscale. And then I continue on, and it's like, and then I enlarge some more, and it's like you continue on, and then somewhere I don't know how this happened. Okay, it happened from this image, but it it randomly, as the AI does, go, oh, that kind of looks like something in the street photography, kind of whatever. So it did that, and I'm like, bang, that's pretty fucking cool. I think I'll run with that. I'll do some stuff. So I started focusing more on the street aspect, and then it also did these. It did these bird images, which it came from this image, but it started to kind of like put birds in it, and I liked that, so I started picking the bird ones. These are ones that I picked up, But then it really kind of went crazy on the street photography stuff, and it's like, as a street photographer, it's like I was like, okay, that's cool, but what it does is, it's like, I mean, honestly, it's like if you went out and you shot these on the street, um, I mean, there's a good chance that maybe it would be better, or maybe it wouldn't be, but you have to look at it from the process of what you're doing. It's like, if you're learning how to shoot things, I kind of think it's no different than kind of seeing what's wrong with that image. And it gives you four images here, and you're looking at it to where it's like, like there's some that it's cut the feet off, and it's like, I don't like those. I like to see more feet. So if you're shooting off the hip with the camera on, out in the field, you have to like get better, at figuring that out, and then making sure that maybe use a wider angle lens or whatever, and then just continue on. So it's I do think in a lot of ways it's like the AI, given this kind of like standard, is helping you focus and articulate your ability to get a decent image. Like these four here in the center, the one on the far left, I think, is the better one. I might have picked that. The one next to it I like, but the guy's not really walking on the ground. It doesn't really make sense. But I think I picked him, and the one on the far right is good, but it's like his bottom of his feet is cut off, So you keep going, and if you go to the next one up, it's like it's kind of nailing certain things that you had problems with based on the fact that you picked one from the previous that kind of gave it a better idea of what you want, you know. And then these are the birds coming back from the previous, and the birds are a bit mad. And these, and the birds eventually, if you look at it, and I mean, these go on. I spent all evening doing this last night, and you do it. And the thing is you can only render out 15 images or 14. So when you do 14, it's like you have to let it render out all those 14, and then you could go back to it. So basically what I do is that it's like I get to where it's like, okay, you're at the cap. Fuck off and go grab some coffee. Go do something. Relax, And then that's what I do. And so this is yesterday. So that was an hour, and then it was like I was at 1 a.m. I'm still doing it, you know, and and then you just keep coming back, and you look, and it's always exciting. It's the same excitement as like shooting on film and then looking at the negatives and going, oh fuck, I missed that. Ooh fuck, I nailed that. And it's like, and the thing is that you realize that I'm just realizing as a photographer that this AI is kind of making you aware of all of the minutia of um, skills you have as a photographer that you're not really aware of, or maybe you are, but it's like that you know what you're doing, and if you look at the images you shot, so like it was very difficult and archaic if you think about it from the film point of view. If you went out and you shot from the hip, not putting the camera to your eye, um, like in New York or whatever, shot 6 rolls, went home, processed them, and maybe you didn't even process them, right away. You process them at the end of the week, and then you go through and you look at these, you look at the images, and hopefully you can remember what you were doing or whatever. I never took notes or whatever, but you took those and then you just went back out and you kept shooting based on just the basic kind of like, yeah, I missed that, or the focus was wrong, or I need to use a wider lens, or I need to you know, I need a bigger aperture. It's like whatever the case may be. You're learning about all that stuff, and then you kind of put it in your sublime logic, and then you go back out and you shoot, and you're nailing it. And it's like it's attrition. It's like over time you get better at doing that because you, your brain is doing something that you're kind of unaware of. And I think by watching the AI kind of doing the same thing but on a digital sense, you're becoming more aware of the fact that you have this skill because you're you're implementing the same kind of like, no, I don't like this picture. Yes, I like this picture. Don't shoot like that again. Shoot like that again. Try to get more of these. Try to get, and and it's in an essence, it is helping your composition, you know. In which ways it's like, okay, so it's just AI, and I get that. So this is the final images here that I've gone through. So I've gone through all this stuff. I don't know what the time, but it's like what it's done for me is that it's like I know it's like you kind of see the evolution of an image in real time, and then you think, okay, that's what I need to do. It's like this same process if you were shooting in film or shooting digital, you would have to go out and do it, and then look, edit, remember, go out, shoot, edit, and all those like series of the cycles of the process are all kind of happening real time here, you know. And I mean that they could be considered not art, or not real, or not like worthy of selling or anything like that, which I'm happily to agree with, but it's like what I think it's doing that I really appreciate is it's making you hash out basic composition, and seeing and giving yourself, because if you think about it, that's why you buy all of these fucking like um, photo books, like Winogrand and Par and all that shit, and you look at it and you go, oh yeah, I wish I could shoot like that, and you keep looking, and then you look at the stuff, and then you go out and shoot, and you try to shoot, and you miss it, but maybe sometimes you hit it, and then it gives you a much better appreciation of that photographer, how they were able to get that image, or it's like that they were thinking about something like that, and you could see the process, and then that becomes part of your process. You know, you can you can rip off Robert Frank all you want, but it'll never be a Robert Frank, and it's not that it's like it will never be as good as Robert Frank. It just won't be a Robert Frank. It'll be yours. You will have taken from it what you assumed was what Robert Frank was doing, and whether you hit it or you don't, you're going to leave that with like some vestige of what you thought, you know, was good, and it's kind of become part of your wheelhouse, and you like it, and you grow that, and it's like, and then when it grows into something completely different, you know, you may forget the fact that it was Robert Frank that kind of like motivated you to do this, but you'll never know, and it doesn't really fucking matter. And I think with the AI, it is kind of doing that. It is honing your skills to edit, which is very important. It's a very important thing as a photographer to edit your work, to look at your work and to kind of go, yeah, that one's not one. I took a chance, it failed. I learned something on that, but you can't see it in that image. I'm going to take what I learned and I'll put it to another image, or so on and so forth. And I do think the AI, and it's like, and I mean, to be honest with you, I'm just now wrapping my head around the fact that these images are standalones. Um, like that they're art that I made. Because before it was like, it's the process of trying to hone a good image, and then realizing that that honing is a sublime process done with the AI that's very similar to the sublime process that you do every day when you go out and shoot 50 pictures and then sit home and edit them and then take that information and then do it again and again and again and again. And over time, you're a better photographer for it. And I think that is looking at AI as a positive tool and not something that's going to take my job away from me.